This is officially the smallest park in San Francisco, but it's also one of the most significant. How many of you have heard of the Underground Railroad? Network of people that helped Africans escape from slavery and establish themselves in free states. Well, the park that I'm taking you to commemorates the western end of the Underground Railroad. And a lot of folks never realize that the Underground Railroad extended this far west. Because we think of it mostly as being along the East Coast and in the South. But the western terminus is right down the street here. And the person who ran it was a woman named Mary Ellen Pleasant. And Ms. Pleasant, folks who had escaped from slavery, and she'd find them jobs, a lot of them working in houses as domestics. And that's how she made her living. She got paid by the folks who were looking for servants. And she also made a lot of investments. And she lived down here, although the house she lived in doesn't still exist. But these big eucalyptus trees that you see here were planted by her. And then in the middle, there's a plaque that commemorates the western terminus of the Underground Railroad. So that's our destination, to go over by those eucalyptus trees. Here is our Mary Ellen Pleasant Memorial Park.
It looks like it's the park.
So are we in the park right now?
Yeah, you are in the park.
We're in the park.
So
Edmund.
Go on into the park, everyone.
Edmund.
So this is a really special place, and in the 4 or 5 years I've been leading the tours, when I bring people up here, they're always surprised because no one realized, first of all, that there was a western terminus of the Underground Railroad, but also that it's here. And people say, but it's in Japantown. Well, the whole western edition was very diverse. And so, and can you guess why it's called the western edition? That's part of it. And when the main part of San Francisco in the 1800s ran out of room, they said, let's add some more space on. So here we are. We made a Western edition. Europeans, African Americans, Filipinos, and eventually the Japanese. But when the Japanese really started to come here was after the 1906 earthquake and fire, because the areas where they had been living, which were in the east part of town, by the docks, a lot were living in China. A lot of that was pretty flattened, so they had to move somewhere. The western addition was still standing, and people moved here.
Also, they all lived in the middle.
Well, all around this neighborhood that we now call Japantown, and then in the Fillmore. And, you know, it's kind of interesting because Chinatown looked kind of like this after 1906, right? It was pretty flat after the earthquake. It was like it had been demolished and people lost their homes. Chinatown decided that they were going to rebuild their community. The city tried to get them to move actually out to Hunters Point, but they said, no, we want to stay here. But what to me is very interesting is that those pictures after 1906 look an awful lot like Japantown after redevelopment came through and knocked everything down. So this is one of those examples of resilience, coming back from something that's really difficult that might stop someone else and saying, I'm going to keep going on. So this is one of the great lessons that we have here. Now we're going to head down this block. I'm going to point out some of the Victorians to you, and we're going to walk by one of the old synagogue buildings, and then we're going to go to a very special place for Japanese American history.
Okay.